Hello and welcome once again to the Big Stage Innovation Talks. We started a couple of weeks back, and the idea behind bringing these conversations in front of the wider audience of Skill IV, and of course all the parents and children in the academic community, is to make people more aware and more conscious about the skills that our children require and the support that they need from us as parents, as mentors, as teachers, to be truly successful and truly be happy in their life as they progress out of the schools, get into the universities, and eventually get into the business world and start, making a living for themselves. So that's what we want to do. And today, the topic we want to talk about is helping children becoming emotionally intelligent, a topic that's extremely close to my heart and is also extremely close to the hearts of the two esteemed guests that I have. And I would love to introduce them to this audience today. So I have with me Veena Mani ma'am. Veena Mani ma'am is from Bangalore. She has more than 22 years of experience in the education space, out of which more than 15 years as a principal, if I'm not wrong, ma'am. 15 years as a principal, so extremely hands-on as a leader in the academic space. And right now, Veena Mani ma'am is leading this mathematical community that I would love to know a little bit more about, called PISA Prodigies. I'm also a big fan of building communities because that's where true learning happens. That's where children start to learn on their own. So PISA Prodigies is what Veena ma'am is leading. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to this session, and we're really looking forward to hearing your thoughts around emotional intelligence for children. Okay. And I also have here with me Kulwant Rehal, ma'am, once again, extremely renowned and very respected member of the teaching community, more than 20 years of teaching and counseling experience. She's been a principal for 6 years, the school in Delhi, author of 2 books, ma'am, if I'm not wrong, two books, yes. 2 books right now. A CBSE resource person, so she's working a lot, helping other teachers become better now, and she's working as she's supporting Akal Academics, a large community or group of schools across Punjab, essentially in the rural segment, helping children become more independent, more confident, better communicators. So that's what Kulwant ma'am is doing. Thank you so much, Kulwant ma'am, for joining us. And
thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, both of you, for joining. So, before I get into emotional intelligence and our children and why it's important, all of that, I was thinking about this morning as I was thinking about how to curate this conversation, and there's this little story about my own self which I was reminded of, and this is actually 1990. I think when I was in grade 9 or 10, that's when I moved to Delhi. Before that, I'd always lived in very small towns in Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, studied in small schools. And then all of a sudden, my father got transferred to Delhi and I shifted, and I got admission in a well-known public school in South Delhi. And on day one, when I went there, I realized that I was totally out of place. Coming from this very small town, my English wasn't great, and my sense of dressing and all of that was very poor in comparison to these really smart kids from Delhi, South Delhi especially. And it took me a long time to fit in. And while I thought that I'd fitted in, I never did. And it took me many years to come out of that complex that I developed at that stage. In fact, I remember when I got into my first job with a very large company, I failed in that job simply because I felt like I did not belong there. It was a large multinational organization. I was selected on merit, but every day I would go to office, I felt like I did not belong there. I wasn't good enough. I didn't fit in. And I failed. I had to leave that job in 1 year because I just could never settle down. And that made me believe that as a child, the experiences that we go through and the impressions that get built upon us are so important. And if there is nobody who understands us at that time and helps us through that very tricky period of our adolescence, which is what I was dealing with at that point in time, then these images can get imprinted deep inside our mind and can damage us all our life. I was fortunate that I started having these conversations with some of the people around me at that time. I took some help from counselors as well, because I realized this is not how my life can continue. I'll never be successful if I keep doing this. And that's also led me on to building Skill Ivy. That's what I try to do now, helping children by letting them talk about their issues, their traumas, their mental blocks, their anxieties, their the sense of low self-worth, all of that. That's what we're trying to do, but it's incredibly important, at least in my mind, and I'm sure in your mind as well. So, before we get into some sort of a freewheeling discussion, I wanted to hear from you, your views on why you think emotional intelligence or emotional quotient is such an important element for our children. And we as parents, we as teachers, as coaches, as guides, need to be more aware of it. So, Kulwant ma'am, maybe you want to start off this conversation and share your views on emotional intelligence.
Yeah, why not? So this, I feel, intelligence, all the schools are focusing on intelligence. All the tests are based on what we can study, retain, remember, define, whatever. That is what it is. And emotional intelligence is just left to happen by itself.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it has not come into the mainstream. In fact, I just was with the president of NAB, National Association of Blind, Shalini, Miss Shalini in Sodi, in Delhi. She is among the 75 top women who have been inspiring women of India. She's got an award. And I said, why can't we have Shalinis in school? Why can't we nurture such people in school who want to impact society? Why are we only thinking of being an engineer, being a doctor? Why? Why can't we say, I am going to cure this disease? I am going to create a place where, disease-free place. So for us, the goal is only being an engineer. So it is, it has become so incidental. Being good has become so incidental. Well, that should have been the main focus. That is how important I feel EQ is. It should not be just left to happen. If you remember who's your favorite teacher, you remember. What you studied, you don't remember. Why? Because of the EQ. She impacted you. The favorite subject changed because of the love of the teacher. So that is how important it is. And we cannot just leave it to happen on its own. And that's what has happened so far.
Yeah.
So EQ has to be taken, and we have to pull the reins and make sure that children are impacted. Very well. You're doing a wonderful job, Abhinavji.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And really passionate initial pitch by you. I absolutely loved it. Veena ma'am, what are your thoughts around EQ and emotional intelligence? Ma'am, are you muted? Maybe you need to unmute.
So I go back to the brain anatomy. There's something called the limbic system. Have you heard of?
Yeah. Yes.
It's all to do with the limbic system, which we generally are not aware of. And with all the advancements that have happened in neurosciences now we know what the limbic system. There is something called the limbic system, and we need to cater to the limbic system when it is required, the right way. And it's all that the role that the limbic system is playing. When the limbic system wants to shut down, when it wants to open up, and how it works. So we need to take care of the limbic system the way we take care of all other parts of our body. We brush our teeth twice every day, and we take care of all other parts of our body. And we groom. We don't do anything with the grooming of the limbic system, basically, which is very, very important, pivotal in what a person does any time of his lifetime. It will all depend. The entire lifetime depends on how the limbic system has been taken care of and what the limbic system feels like now. Does it want to open? It opens. It doesn't want. It says no, I don't like it. It shuts down. It will not work at all. So it's all to do with that.
Right. And, it's good you talk about that.
What is called EQ.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do we really help? I mean, like Kulwant ma'am is also talking about, we've left children pretty much on their own, when it comes to management of their EQ or limbic system. We've left them on their own. We never really understood that there is a need and a method, perhaps, which we could help our children develop or learn and eventually implement. Why do you think that happened? I mean, where did we go wrong in our whole education system? You have been in this system for so long, and I've been in this system. How did we overlook something so powerful?
Yeah, ma'am.
You take the question, please.
Okay. I have also thought a lot, like you were talking about my project now, my venture, PISA Prodigies, and that is the underlying philosophy of my PISA Prodigies that I run now. Okay. It's all to do with the freedom that is given. We have snatched away freedom from children. Okay, during early childhood, there is absolutely no freedom given to children, and that is the cause. You need to, children need to be given a lot of courage and confidence is what you need to. If your limbic system has to feel it like doing it and open up, you need a lot of courage and confidence, basically. And that comes out of where? The freedom, which has been snatched away from kids during early brain development. It's again going back to early brain development. And when the limbic system says shut down, enough, I don't like it at all. Give freedom to children. Yeah, how let a child, run across the way a child runs on a road. Okay, we cannot run, we cannot even walk without being conscious. How does a child run on a road? Kiska road hai? Baap ka hai? Bindas, run. Give that freedom to a child, and you don't have to work anymore. You don't have to do anything.
Freedom.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, absolutely. Kulwant, ma'am.
Okay, I would like to take this question too. See, I think where we went wrong, you said. The point is the teachers were so busy making plans, lesson plan, how to implement the curriculum. They forgot whom they were teaching. They forgot that the subject was not important. They were to teach children. They did not know the student. So I feel the most important thing is that you should know whom you're teaching, what you're teaching. You're teaching the students, not the subject. The students have to benefit. So we need to make that connect. That is what I feel that is where we went wrong. We just got the course curriculum and we made the lesson plans and we went ahead, implemented it, broken it into segments and done. But now I think things are changing with learning by doing, experiential learning, crossover learning. There are so many things. Teachers are getting aware, and there's 50 hours of training, which is compulsory. So that is opening up wings and things are changing for the better. NEP is doing a great job. I mean, till things are not put into regimentation, things don't happen. We know that. So those things are happening now. So I'm very happy they're happening.
Right. And you speak about NEP, ma'am, and how that is helping. It's clearly, for me, it's a little bit of a watershed moment for us because there's so much that NEP talks about. And there's also now the NIPP that they've been talking about, which brings in more innovation, ideation, and entrepreneurship at schools. And so really opening up all of these new concepts which go beyond curriculum and helping children think more independently and giving them more freedom. Like you said, ma'am, what is your view, ma'am? Do you think we're moving in the right direction now? Is it?
Absolutely. We need to just wait for NEP to happen. And we are in the right direction, absolutely in the right direction, completely aligned to global standards, PISA, why we failed in PISA. A lot of questions get answered there with the NEP. So now the first part of it is the way it is designed, regional language, we are prioritizing on the regional language, number one. Number two, the content. We were so focused, like Kulwant ma'am said, so focused on the content. So now the content is being thrashed. The NEP is going to thrash content. It will get reduced by 50%, where there'll be a lot of freedom and space, time for teachers and children to, look at other parts, other faculties, other domains. Than just the cognitive domain. You look at the affective domain, plan things for the affective domain. We don't even know, our teachers, maybe, we don't even remember that there is a affective domain, and we don't even think about the affective domain when we plan, when we assess, when we do anything. Now we'll have a lot of time. We will be able to do all that with NEP. And the many other possibilities, that avenues that NEP is creating, it is going to work out for us. This will be an answer to our question. Yes, certainly.
That's a very positive way to look at things, and I'm certainly hoping it'll happen. All of us are very consciously looking at how the NEP is helping schools and our education system to evolve. But there is another part of the community which is equally important, probably even more, which is the parent community. And we've been at Skill IB, we've been in this space of helping children find mentors, helping children find somebody they can talk to, helping children become more emotionally intelligent. And we often talk to parents about this. And while there is a significant part of the parent community, at least in the urban centers of our country, the big cities, who seem to be more aware, but still a very large part of our parent community uh, uh, which is either not aware, or even if they are aware, they refuse to accept it. And I am more inclined to believe that a large part of our parent community is aware that there is a mental health issue happening with our children. And that's the reason why India has the maximum incidence of teenage depression across the world. And they're aware that something is not working out, something's going wrong. But they're still not willing to accept it, because the moment they accept it, they will have to do something about it. What is your take? I mean, I'm sure in your careers, you've interacted with thousands of parents. What is your take on how the parents are accepting the need for emotionally intelligent kids? What are they willing to do something about it? Are they willing to accept that mental health for children is an issue? It's not, philosophical thing. It's a real issue right now. What's your take on this, Kulwant ma'am? And then I'll come to you, Veena ma'am, on the same question.
Well, let me tell you, I have been working in schools, not only in Delhi, but I'm an army officer's wife. So remote areas everywhere, right? And at some places, there have been cases where I've told the teachers to do, like, don't take tests for little children. It taxes their, and there should be stealth assessment while they're not aware. And then they decided, ma'am ko kuch nahi pata. She does not know what works here. So keep her out of it. Or chori chori dene lage. Parents ko khush karna hai. So see, that's how it is. They don't believe that things can be in a different way. And I always say, teachers, you all are experts. Parents will not know. Whatever you tell, the parents will believe. You have to groom the parents, right? And if parents don't know, like they say, they don't know English. I said, well, take it from me. Like in Assam, it is given. Nahi aata. Ab bolo kya karoge? Nahi aata. So you all speak to each other and speak. So though they know there is a mental issue, and then they feel the school will solve all the problems. Fee de diye, they will solve all the problems.
Yeah.
They will come with complaints. ये सुनता नहीं बात, ये काम नहीं करता, ये पढ़ता नहीं है, बैठता नहीं, दोस्तों के गाली सीखता. Everything is they blame the school. So they will not call it as a mental health problem. They will say lack of care given by the school. They will not listen to that. And of course, the stigma of mental health and taking care, that is there. But the worst thing is, I think, where all the parents are not listening to the child. With everybody, there was a family of 4 yesterday, all were on their mobiles. What a beautiful time of a journey, you can connect to each other. But then they were all 4 on their mobiles, a boy of 6 and the father and the teenager, all one. So there is no time. The mental health problems are going to come up. EQ is required, and it is the burden on the school. Parents are going to do nothing about it. They'll only turn and blame the school.
Right.
So we have to do it anyway. We can, and NEP will not just happen. CCE was very good. We have to make sure that it gets implemented. We don't do that. CCE was beautiful, but nahi kiya. So we have to take charge of everything. Collaborative thinking, critical thinking, collaboration. All those things will take care of EQ also. So that has to happen in the system. Yeah, that's what.
Absolutely. And, great point you made around the teachers to groom the parents. I think that's, while I understand teachers are overburdened, always have been, doing tons of things besides just teaching. But I think it's a very important responsibility. I think that
this would be like, sharpening the sword to cut the tree.
Yeah.
Once the parents are groomed, your work is easier.
Absolutely.
So this is very essential. It's not additional work. This will reduce the work. And even children becoming smarter with IT, teachers can reduce the work by telling the child to think first. Like they say, now you should not ask the child, what did you learn in school? You should ask, what question did you ask in school? So let the child do the research. Teachers can reduce their burden. They shouldn't feel burdened. They should enjoy. And if a class children are asking questions, teacher can smile and rest that the work is being done. Teachers should not feel burdened. That is where I feel they should enjoy life. They should let them.
Well said. Well said. Thank you so much for sharing that. Veena ma'am, what's your view on this one?
Yeah, so I would say most of the parents are foolish. They spend a lot of time. I have seen parents do research on which mobile to buy. Okay, 20,000 ka mobile kharidne ke liye, the kind of research that a parent puts in and how much information they gather about the mobile phone. They spend a lot of energy, make efforts to understand every bit, every feature of a mobile phone, wherein parents have no interest, they have no time to spend with teachers or school or principal They have absolutely no time to understand what are neural pathways or where is the limbic system and what is happening. And they have absolutely no time to understand synapses. They have no time to understand neurotransmitters. They don't want to know anything else, so foolish. They just feel that, okay, you pay fee, dekh lenge. Jab bacha bada ho jayega to dekh lenge. Let the child grow up. There is Alan, Akash, Baiju, what not, all you need to do is spend some 2-3 lakhs and my child will get, my child will get through and do whatever. They don't even realize we cannot cut open the skull and fix things up, fill in and then tie it up. No, that's not possible. So it's very difficult, until parents realize, and we get a class of parents. There are a lot of sensible parents who understand, who want to know more. They spend time with us, but most of the parents, no, they have no time for, they have time for everything else, but no time to spend, which is very important, with teachers who spend 8 hours. Children spend their daylight hours inside a classroom with teachers, and parents have no regard and they have no time to spend time. They don't even attend PTMs. A lot of parents don't attend PTMs and they say they are busy. It's pathetic. It is pathetic for us. Yeah.
Yeah, and
but then we will have to work hard on this. We will have to work hard. We will have to make it, and work on it. Get parents together, make them understand, make them realize where the gap is.
Yeah, and I don't really think it's a matter of them not having the time. I think it's a matter of them not being willing to put time behind it. Also, because you mentioned a lot of them don't come for PTMs. Why wouldn't they come for PTMs? Because if they come for the PTM, they will have to do something about what they hear at the PTM, what they know about at the PTM. So, are they willing to make that sort of a commitment? And again, you mentioned, ma'am, that parents sometimes think कि तो बड़े होके ठीक हो जाएगा, आगे जाके देख लेंगे, अपने आप सीख जाएगा. I hear that all the time, because we run these programs and we're talking to parents and children, talking about how to help children become better communicators, help develop focus, manage time management skills, emotional intelligence skills. And a lot of times parents say, ये हमने तो सीखा नहीं था ना जब हम बच्चे थे, हमने भी तो बाद में सीख लिया, हमारा बच्चा भी सीख लेगा, अभी सिखाने की क्या जरूरत है? And then sometimes I tell them my own story, which I just recited earlier in this session, that it can create havoc and damage to the extent that you cannot even imagine. You are letting your child out in the ocean with just one oar. They will not be able to get to the shore if you don't give them these skills early on. The other aspect before we get towards the finish, I want to talk about is the third part. We've spoken about teachers and schools, NEP and parents, is the children themselves. And in my experience, I felt that children are more open towards experimenting with learning skills like emotional intelligence. And I wanted to hear from you, because again, you've worked with more children than I have. Do you believe children are more receptive, and how can we spread more awareness amongst the children? Because they are so influential in their own way. If they become more aware and if they raise their voice, perhaps we can create a little bit of a movement here. Do you believe children are more receptive, and what can we do for the children to become more vocal ambassadors for these skills to be included in our curriculum? So, Veena ma'am, maybe you want to go first?
So yes, it is very important. See, all children are born with the same trillions of neurons. All children are born with the same number of neurons, and what we do with them is what they become. Like I said earlier, there is no freedom that is given to children. It's not their life, it's not their book, and we dictate. We teachers become dictators and tell them where to write and what to do. I have taught lots and lots of children. I've taught math in the last so many years. Even as a principal, I had always been teaching. So we teach children how to add. You go from ones place to tens place, from right to left, subtract right to left, multiply right to left, from ones to tens. But when it comes to division, we say left to right. Okay, now you're going to look at this digit first and then go to the next digit. Trust my words. Not one teacher, not one child until today has stood up and said, why do we do division this way? Why can't I divide this way? They just write down. It's so sad. It's so sad that they don't even stand up and say, now why do I do this way? Let me go right to left, not left to right when I have to divide. You understand? And that is what we make out of children by the time they come to 3rd and 4th grade. By the time they are 8 and 9 years old, they only learn that they are only receivers. Whatever is told to them, they accept quietly. They don't judge. They don't think. They cannot ask. They cannot talk. They're not supposed to talk, is what they become. And it is sad. It is sad. You know, we tell them you have to do it this way and they have to do it this way. Yeah. So now you understand what we need to do with them. All the freedom that is required, do whatever way. Now, okay, children, today we are going to do division. Let's do division. And okay, you all divide however you want to. I'm not going to tell them you have to begin with this digit and this digit. Okay, go ahead. Let's see how you do division. I have taught you what to do with addition, subtraction, multiplication. Now it's your turn. Let me see how you want to do division. And these are the digits and this is the number divisor. How do you want to do it? Go ahead. Okay, make them feel that we can make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. We learn out of mistakes. Brain development happens with more development, more mistakes. Okay, more mistakes, more development, better development. We have to tell them failures are good. It's good to fail sometimes, lot of times. Failures are accepted and it is good. It's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes and we are still there. What we make them fail is, you cannot fail. You cannot make a mistake. You need to be right all the time, which is not right, which affects this.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. Allowing them the space to fail. I think failure has become almost like a curse word, whereas, as a entrepreneur, now I know I wouldn't be where I am without failing. In failing, I learn, right? And we need to glorify failing as well to an extent, because that's how we learn, right? I mean, that's how all inventions have been made. That's how all superheroes have been created, by failure, through failure. And in our system and our society, in our education system, failure has become such a bad word. You just cannot fail. If you failed, then there's something really wrong with you. You're abnormal. You're out, an outcast, outlier. So, well brought that. You brought that out beautifully, ma'am. And Kulwant, ma'am, what's your take on this? How do we get children to raise this movement?
Yes, I agree with all that you say, and many things opened up for me when you said that, about division, and wonderful. It's got me thinking there. But nevertheless, my viewpoint is quite different. I feel that children nowadays are very smart. They have a very small span of attention, just because there's video games and everything happening everywhere. And if a class is not, is a noisy class and they're not paying attention, I feel it's a problem not with the students, it's the problem with the teacher. The teacher is not able to harness or keep their attention. So the teacher needs to, the children are smart, they're faster in technology. So how is it that the teacher is going to create that the child takes more interest? So it is up to the teacher. They can do it easily nowadays with the children being smarter. And, Google is for everyone. And many things are for everyone in the internet and everything. And they're much faster. So that is what I feel. The children can do much better. I mean, and, again, we talk about multiple learning and different ways of learning, but we don't put them to practice. Why can't we have assessment like in the side, like you tell them, I want to know what you understood from this lesson. If a person can write it in a blog or something, let them do it. You tell them, write a blog and put it on the article, probably he'll do it. He will not do it in the homework, but he might post a blog because they're comfortable like that. Or maybe, somebody wants to make a comic strip. Why not? Let him make a comic strip of the lesson. The teacher needs to know that the child has understood. And only if we can, work on the way he is good at, he's going to feel interested. I mean, that is one thing I always had. In fact, I wrote a letter to APJ Abdul Kalam also then. And once I got a reply, the other time I didn't. But then this is what it is. We need to, why can't we have more Lata Mangeshkars? Why can't we have more people? Why? Because we have one period a week for music, while we have writing every day, reading every day. Why can't we have more? So whether it is EQ, we need to work more, or even if we have sports, we can have that. If we do it, and we can teach whatever we want to teach and making them do what they want. You see, content is important, context is even more important. So we can teach them all the skills in the way they want to learn. Why can't we do that? And they will learn what we want them to learn. So that's what I feel. We have to be like that.
Yeah. It's almost like we have to understand that they have their own thought process, and we need to treat them with respect and give them the freedom and the space that they need. Or they deserve, within the need they deserve, because we try to.
They will not respect a teacher who reads from the book and explains like they used to do earlier. They will not respect that teacher.
Yeah.
They would have read something more about it. You
Right.
see, things are different now. You cannot take them for granted at all.
Yeah. Right. Right. So, great conversation. I think we've some themes which are very clearly emerging out is freedom. We need to give our children more freedom to think, more freedom to question, more freedom to make mistakes, to fail. And if we do that, and if we let them know it's okay, then they will grow into much more emotionally stronger individuals, and stronger individuals will become better leaders for tomorrow. We've also spoken about how NEP is a big milestone, or actually a big journey that we just started. And hopefully, if we can make sure that NEP just doesn't remain restricted to some schools, but it's widespread, because when you talk about India, we're talking about thousands and thousands of schools, and so many villages and all of that. How do you make it real across the vast population of this country? And then, of course, teachers, who are a very critical part. How do you get the teachers to stop just following the rules and making followers out of children, and actually helping children create and think is a very important part, right? And then, of course, parents need to start thinking differently. They need to start evolving. And sometimes I have actually thought in my work with children that more than the children, I need to work with the parents. Maybe I need to create programs for parents to become better parents than because children are going to be fine if the parents are fine. So parents need to start thinking differently. A lot of these skills that we talk about, emotional intelligence included, are not automatically going to come to you.
Yes.
Yeah. We need to create the environment for children to develop these kind of skills. So fantastic thoughts. Any last moment thoughts from both of you, ma'am? It's been lovely so far hearing from you. Kulwant ma'am, any last parting thoughts on this conversation from you?
I think you're doing a wonderful job, and the right track. That's what we want to do. And EQ is the answer for a better world. That's what I feel. IQ, yes, but EQ is so important. Without IQ, it's better. I mean, EQ has to be in place. Only then we can be better human beings, and we have a better world ahead of us.
Sure. Veena ma'am, any last thoughts from you?
With internet, with Google, with everything in place now, I think IQ is irrelevant, out of context. And certainly with the growing challenges, the kind of challenges that we are looking at, the kind of world we have, artificial intelligence machines which can think. So EQ becomes really, really important. And we need to certainly focus on that and work harder on EQ.
Yes, very
absolutely. I think that's a great way to end it. EQ is what's going to define what kind of a future we have for our planet. Yeah. So thank you so much, Kulwant ma'am, Veena ma'am. It's been a pleasure hosting you today. I learned quite a lot, and I'm sure people who watch this conversation, listen to this conversation, for at least some of us in our community, a trigger probably will go off, a switch will go on, and they will start to behave a little bit differently. Teachers, students, parents, because all of us have to come together to help our children here. They're living in a world which is very different from the world that we grew up in, you grew up in, or I grew up in. I actually believe our life was simpler than the life of the children today. And our children today need much greater support. And a lot of that support will just be in giving them the space and the freedom, rather than giving them more rules and more guardrails. So if we can do that, I think we'll do a great service for our future. So thank you so much, both of you, for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'd be looking forward to speaking to you one-on-one, perhaps meeting you whenever I'm in Bangalore, Veena ma'am, or I'm in Chandigarh, Kulwant ma'am, or if you happen to come to Delhi sometime, it'll be my pleasure to interact with you and see what we can do together to help our children grow up into happy and successful adults. Yeah.
Sure.
Right. Thank you so much, both of you, and look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.